Hello everybody. If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 658. What is TOEFL? Upper beginner. TOEFL is an acronym for the test of English as a foreign language. It is a standardized test that measures a non-native English speaker's ability to use and understand English in an academic setting. It is administered by the Educational Testing Service, ETS, and is required by thousands of universities, colleges and agencies worldwide for admission and professional certification. The most common version is the TOEFL IBT, Internet-based test, which assesses reading, listening, speaking and writing skills. What does TOEFL test? Reading measures comprehension of academic texts. Listening assesses the ability to understand academic lectures and conversations. Speaking evaluates the ability to communicate effectively in academic settings. Writing tests the ability to write academic essays and summarize information from reading and listening sources. Why is TOEFL important? University admissions. Many English-speaking universities and colleges require a TOEFL score for international student admissions. Professional certification. Some professional certifications also require TOEFL scores to demonstrate English fluency. Global recognition. The TOEFL is one of the most widely accepted and recognized English proficiency tests globally. Who takes the TOEFL? Non-native English speakers who wish to study or work in English-speaking countries. How do you take the TOEFL? At a test centre, available in authorised locations worldwide. From home, TOEFL IBT Home Edition offers the same test online with live monitoring. Vocabulary notes. Standardised test. A standardized test is a test that's administered and scored in a consistent or standard manner. This means that everyone who takes the test does so under the same conditions, allowing for fair comparison of results. A classic example is the SAT, which is a standardized test for college admissions in the United States. Similar words. Uniform test. Benchmark assessment, calibrated exam. Academic setting. An academic setting refers to an environment related to education and scholarship, such as a school, college or university. The term emphasizes a context where learning, research and intellectual discussion take place. For instance, a professor's lecture hall is a typical academic setting. Similar words. Scholarly environment. Educational context. Collegiate atmosphere. Assess. To assess means to evaluate or measure the quality, ability or value of something. In the context of TOEFL, the test assesses a person's English skills by measuring their proficiency in reading, listening, speaking and writing. A teacher might also assess a student's progress through a quiz. Similar words. Evaluate, appraise, gauge, judge. Comprehension. Comprehension is the ability to understand something. The reading section of the TOEFL measures a student's comprehension of academic texts, meaning their ability to understand the main ideas and details presented. If you can understand the meaning behind a complex passage, you have good comprehension. Similar words. understanding, grasp, perception, cognition. Proficiency. Proficiency refers to a high degree of competence or skill. The TOEFL is a test of English proficiency because it measures how skilled or fluent a non-native speaker is in the language. A professional musician, for example, has a high degree of musical proficiency. Similar words: competence, fluency, expertise, aptitude. Article written by Steve UK and Google. Image created by Steve UK and Gemini AI. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
So, you've got this dream, right? Maybe it's studying at a university in New York or landing that amazing job in London. Well, if that sounds like you, you've probably heard of one big thing standing in the way: the TOEFL test. So today, we're going to break it all down and demystify it for you. You know, whether you're picturing yourself on a beautiful university campus or in that corner office with a fantastic view, that whole journey usually starts at the exact same point. You've got to prove that you have the English skills to actually succeed there. And that's where this test comes in. Honestly, try to think of the TOEFL not so much as a scary exam, but more like a universal key. It's the thing that unlocks doors. It tells schools and companies all over the world, hey, this person is ready. They're not just going to survive, they're going to thrive in an English-speaking environment. All right, so what is this thing really? What is the TOEFL? Let's get right into the basics. Okay, first up, the name itself tells you a lot. TOEFL stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language, and that's all about how you'll use the language. The key word here is academic. Its whole purpose is to measure your English skills specifically for a university setting. We're talking about understanding lectures, reading textbooks, and being part of class discussions.
Now, the folks who run the show are called the Educational Testing Service, or just ETS for short. And you gotta understand the reach of this test is just massive. We're talking about thousands of universities and institutions all over the globe that accept it. That makes it a super powerful and portable credential to have.
And yeah, there have been a few different versions of the TOEFL over the years, but the one you're almost definitely going to run into is the TOEFL IBT. That IBT just stands for Internet-Based Test, and that's the one we're going to focus on. Okay, so you know what it is, but what's actually on the test? Well, the TOEFL IBT zeroes in on the 4 main skills you'd be using every single day in a university setting. First up, we've got reading. So picture this. You're reading a chapter from a college textbook, maybe on biology or history. The test wants to see if you can do more than just read the words. It's checking if you can really understand the main points, pick out important details, and even figure out what the author is trying to argue.
Next, there's listening. And this is cool because it really tries to mimic what you'd actually hear on campus. You might get a clip of a professor giving a lecture on art history, or you might hear 2 students in the library talking about a project. Your job is just to prove you followed along and got the main ideas.
Then, it's your turn to talk. The speaking section is all about how well you can get your own ideas across. A lot of the time, they'll ask you to summarize something you just read or listened to. It's basically trying to simulate how you'd handle jumping into a real classroom discussion.
And last but not least, writing. This part checks 2 big things. Can you write a solid, well-argued essay? And also, can you do what's called an integrated task? That's where you take information from something you read and something you heard, and you combine them into a summary. It's exactly what you'd have to do for a university paper, right?
Okay, so that's the what. But now for the really big question, the why.
Why do so many people put in all that time, effort, and money for this one test? What's the big deal?
Well, it really comes down to three huge things. First, and this is the big one, university admissions. For most international students, a good TOEFL score isn't just nice to have, it's an absolute must-have to even get in the door. Second, professional certification. Think about high-skilled jobs like medicine or pharmacy. Often you need a TOEFL score to get your license to work in an English-speaking country. And finally, there's just plain old global recognition. A TOEFL score is like a stamp of approval that schools and employers all over the world understand and respect. It instantly tells them, yep, this person's English is up to snuff.
All right, so maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm in. I need to do this. So what are the actual logistics? Let's talk about the practical side of things.
So, first things first, who is this test really designed for?
It's built from the ground up for non-native English speakers. Basically, anyone who wants to go study or work in a country where English is the main language. You can think of it as the bridge that connects your current skills to that fully immersive environment.
And the cool thing is, you actually have a choice in how you take it. The traditional way is to go to an official test center, and they have these all over the world. But now, there's also the TOEFL IBT Home Edition. It is the exact same test, but you take it online from your own home while a live proctor watches through your camera.
Okay, to wrap things up, let's go over a little bit of the lingo. If you're going to get into this world, it really helps to know the key terms. So let's quickly lock in 5 concepts you are going to hear over and over again.
First one is standardized test. You'll hear this a lot. All it means is that the test is given and scored in the exact same way for everyone. That way, it's a totally fair comparison, no matter where in the world you take it.
Next up, academic setting. Remember this one? It's so important. The whole test is built to feel like you're at a university. It's not testing your casual, everyday chat, it's testing your classroom English.
Then there's the word assess. When you hear that ETS is going to assess your skills, don't let it scare you. It's just a formal way of saying they're going to measure your abilities in those 4 key areas: reading, listening, speaking, and writing.
And that leads us to comprehension. This is pretty straightforward. It's just about understanding. The test is constantly checking your comprehension, making sure you can really grab the main ideas and the little details from everything you read and listen to. And finally, the big goal of it all is proficiency. This just means having a really high level of skill in English. At the end of the day, the TOEFL is designed to be a reliable, true measure of your English language proficiency.
So let's wrap this up. I want to leave you with this thought. It's easy to look at the TOEFL and just see another test. But really, for so many people, it's so much more than that. It's a credential, yeah, but it's also a validation of your hard work. And honestly, it's kind of like a passport to a whole new world of opportunities. So the only real question left is this test the first step on your global journey?